In this podcast episode, host Gary Bray engages in a candid and wide-ranging discussion with Dr. Marty Makary, the 27th Commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA. The conversation covers the state of the U.S. healthcare system, chronic disease prevention, nutrition, drug pricing, vaccine policies, innovative medical therapies, and the challenges of reforming a bureaucratic agency. Dr. Makary also shares his vision for reshaping the FDA's role in improving public health, particularly focusing on children's health, transparency, and fostering groundbreaking treatments. Dr. Makary opens by critically evaluating the U.S. healthcare system over the past 50 years, calling it a failure when assessed by the health status of the population. Despite being the largest healthcare spender globally, America faces alarming rates of chronic disease, obesity, and poor health outcomes, especially among children, nearly 42% of whom have at least one chronic condition. He attributes much of this to systemic failures, the medicalization of ordinary life, lack of focus on nutrition and prevention, and an over-reliance on drugs and surgery rather than addressing root causes like diet, sleep, natural light, and community. Makary details how young, altruistic students enter medicine with a desire to help, but are systematically worn down by rote memorization, rigid curricula, and a dogmatic system that discourages questioning. This process leads to burnout and a healthcare workforce focused more on symptom management than disease prevention or addressing underlying lifestyle factors. He specifically highlights the absence and often misinformation about nutrition education in medical training, referencing outdated and corrupted guidelines like the food pyramid, influenced by industry interests rather than science. The podcast discusses efforts by the FDA and USDA to rewrite the 50-year-old food pyramid and dietary guidelines. Dr. Makary stresses ending the war on natural saturated fat and elevating the importance of protein, fiber, and quality whole foods. He points out how prevailing dogma, such as calories in equals calories out, has damaged public health. The new guidelines, expected within 2 months, will emphasize the quality of food over simplistic calorie counting and reject flawed past ideas shaped by industry influence. Dr. Makary addresses the controversy and misinformation surrounding hormone replacement therapy, HRT, for menopausal women, referencing the faulty interpretation of the Women's Health Initiative study from 2002. He explains how the study's data were misrepresented, causing millions of women to be denied effective and safe treatments based on misunderstood risks. He highlights the long-term benefits of HRT, including reduced risk of heart disease, osteoporosis, and relief of menopausal symptoms, and criticizes how medical dogma and groupthink suppressed evolving scientific understanding. Makary reflects on his transition from surgeon and academic physician to FDA Commissioner, emphasizing his sense of mission to fix a broken system. He describes the FDA as enormous and decentralized, overseeing a vast portion of the economy and regulatory landscape. Makary's clear priority is delivering more cures, meaningful treatments, and healthier food for children faster and with greater transparency. Under his leadership, the agency has taken unprecedented actions such as removing petroleum-based food dyes, increasing transparency on drug approval and rejection letters, and lifting black box warnings on women's hormone therapies. The conversation reinforces the FDA's shift towards prevention, aiming to keep people healthier longer to avoid costly and progressive disease states. Dr. Makary criticizes the current system for being efficient at managing symptoms, but failing to prevent chronic illnesses rooted in diet, lifestyle, and environmental factors. He describes how children are often medicated rather than supported with healthier food, natural light exposure, and community, and calls out the medicalization of normal childhood behavior as a societal failure. Dr. Makary addresses the controversy of vaccines, noting that the FDA is committed to gold standard science and will not rubber stamp annual mRNA COVID vaccines without meaningful data on necessity and safety. He acknowledges known risks, such as myocarditis in young men, and advocates for transparent communication to empower informed consent. The FDA's role is to scientifically evaluate products' safety and efficacy, while vaccine recommendations fall to the CDC. Makary pledges independence from political or industry pressure and criticizes over-vaccination schedules, emphasizing high population immunity and questioning the necessity of some vaccine mandates. The FDA under Makary aims to drastically speed up the approval process for groundbreaking therapies through new priority review vouchers and fast-track programs. He shares an example of gene therapy for congenital deafness receiving accelerated review, moving decisions from years to weeks without compromising scientific rigor. This reflects an agency eager to collaborate with developers and remove unnecessary delays to bring effective treatments to patients sooner. When discussing emerging fields like microbiome therapies, peptides, stem cells, and biologics, Dr. Makary stresses the need for regulatory flexibility and modernization. He notes that traditional drug approval models do not fit these innovative approaches and calls for common-sense, data-driven policies that accommodate big data and alternative evidence beyond lengthy randomized trials. The FDA prefers to encourage innovation and balance risks with the urgent need for new treatments, especially where patients are seeking effective therapies abroad due to regulatory restrictions in the U.S. Despite enthusiasm and clear priorities, Makary acknowledges the immense challenge of changing a large government bureaucracy. He describes encountering entrenched policies, self-imposed regulatory barriers, and institutional inertia. His approach is to bring in committed personnel aligned with the FDA's mission and to remove those resistant to change. The goal is to turn the aircraft carrier of the agency towards speed, transparency, and meaningful impact on public health. Looking forward, Dr. Makary hopes the FDA's legacy will be healthier children and a significant reduction in chronic disease burdens. He envisions a future where the agency lowers drug prices by cutting R&D costs and enabling generics and biosimilars, expands over-the-counter drug availability, enforces truthful pharmaceutical advertising, and embraces new science, independent of corporate influence. Transparency, science-based decision-making, and respect for patient autonomy are pillars of this vision. The podcast closes with a philosophical note from Dr. Makary on what it means to be an ultimate human. Drawing on experiences at patients' bedsides, he emphasizes humility, leaving a positive legacy, and bridging societal divides through listening and understanding. For him, being the ultimate human means contributing to a better world while maintaining compassion and openness.